Okay, so I have a scene and I have loaded this large terracotta pot that I have, and I'm going to add the rose generator, opening the assets here, and I'm going to drag it into the scene, and I'm going to make sure to disable instance so I can edit it. And now I'm just simply going to Alt G to clear the location. This is what we get when we import the rose generator. It comes with 3 roses already generated, so you can already start working with these or make the new ones. And this is the bush base, and if you move this, the whole thing follows. So I'm going to reposition it a little bit like that, more or less. And this is not going to be rendered, so even if we render this, base is not going to appear. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to isolate the roses. I'm going to leave only the first rose, so I can explain how the generator works. The generator controls the roses with curves, and I like to use it with hair curves because I can make it more organic, but any kind of curves can be used. Here we have the stem guides, and these I have right now 3 hairs. If we enter in the sculpt mode, we can see this is the usual hair generator. And for now, I'm just going to remove all of them and leave only one. I'm going to brush it, and as you can see, when you brush it, the rose and the leaves follow the shape that you make. Okay, and now I'm going to start editing the rose. So the first thing that we can do to edit the rose is selecting the rose here. I'm going to make this a bit smaller. So this is the panel to control each individual rose. Here we can change the color of the rose. I'm going to go into render mode so you can see. And you can choose any color you like, and it's going to update. And if you have other roses, it's going to be independent. So for example, if I want to make this rose pink, the rose number 1 is going to stay in the salmon color that I chose. So that's very cool because you can create a bit of variation in the colors. And then this rose size, it's we will see it later, is to adjust a little bit the size of the rose because sometimes the proportion gets weird if it's too stretched. And then this is just a subdivision divider. So to change the shape of the rose, we have these shape keys. And right now I'm just going to make this a bit bigger. So there's several shape keys. I'm going to use this pin so we can see them, each of them. This one is like the first one. This is the basic shape with no modifiers. And then we have the center up. We have a closed, the opening the center wide, pushing the corners a little bit out, making it a bit flat, closing it, and another kind of flat. And because these are shape keys, you can combine them. You can add more or less to create different shapes of flowers depending. Don't go too extreme because then maybe the rose will look a bit strange, but you can make variations, like tiny variations in the roses. So once you have the shape of the rose decided, I'm going to just select this one, for example. You can modify the leaves of the rose, and those are in here. Now, to modify the leaves, we have here a leaves folder, and in this folder, if you see over there, you can see that over there there's the leaves, and usually I hide this because that way is out of the way, but I basically have 3 different types of leaves, and they look different, the materials are different. So what this is doing is taking those leaves in the leaves folder, and it's distributing them in the hairs that I've created along the stem, and it's making them a bit random, and that we control with this rose leaves guide. I'm going to unhide it so you can see it, and this rose leaves guide is another hair system that it's attached to the rose. And again, you can sculpt and you can brush the leaves. You can put them in any direction you want. You can even slide them to change their position in the stem. And you can make them longer or shorter. You can basically use all the tools for hair. And so you can also add extra. So if you come here with the add extra, you can start clicking, and it's going to create new hairs. And in each hair, there's going to appear a new leaf. And then again, you can just shape them a bit. If you need to rotate them, I usually use the slide tool. Something like this. Okay, and try to move them in all directions so the rose will look a bit more real and not so flat. Like that, more or less. Okay. So if we select the leaves in the inside of this rose, we can see that the leaves also, the same as the rose, also have a geometry node to control the shape and the amount and everything. So now we are going to see those settings. The material cannot be changed, but as you can see, the leaves are different. It's randomizing. They have double sides, so when you're seeing them from the front, you're seeing the green part, and when you see them from the back, you can see the bottom part. And it's selecting the different leaves in the different hairs run in a random way. And that is happening because of this instance multiplier. So if I reduce this to just number 1, you will see there's only 3 leaves. That's because it's taking the 3 leaves that we have here in the leaves folder. You can see here the collection is leaves, and it's putting them randomly in the different hairs. So if I want to have more hairs, then I should increase this number. Usually a number of 3 is enough, but if 2 is good, then that also works. If you need more hairs, just increase this number. Another thing that we can do is we can array these to create another layer of leaves, but I don't recommend this unless you want to make the bush very thick, because if you look at it close, it's not very realistic that this would be getting out from this leaf. But to fill the bush, this is a very useful tool. And then you can separate it here with this offset. And the same as with the rose, you can also increase the size of the leaf. So if you see that you take the when you're grooming the leaves. If it's too long and it looks not okay, then you can just come here and increase the size, and it's going to make it a bit better. So like that.